Hey there everybody, welcome back to XboxCorner. My name's Luke, and today we're going to be taking a look at the upcoming free games heading to Game Pass this week, 3 of which are already live. Now if you like your Xbox, then consider hitting that subscribe button. As well as weekly Game Pass updates, we'll be bringing you previews and reviews of some of the latest Xbox titles and deals videos every single week. With that said though, let's get right on into it and take a look at what this week has in store for us with Xbox Game Pass. So first up we have a game called Atomicrops, which alongside our next 2 titles is available to play right now. Part farming simulator, part roguelike twin stick shooter, the game sees you cultivating and defending the last farm in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. During daylight hours, you're tasked with planting and watering your seedlings while simultaneously taking out the odd stray mutant, but it's when night falls that the real action starts, as you defend your crops to fruition against multiple waves of enemies. Now being a roguelike game, you can expect plenty of weapons, perks, items and upgrades with this one, but also an equal amount of deaths and starting over. And while I've only given a very basic overview of the main gameplay loop, there's actually a lot more depth to Atomicrops than first meets the eye, with multiple characters to unlock, several biomes to explore, boss fights, seasonal rotations, and the opportunity to woo and marry the locals. If you're looking for a roguelite with a difference, which also boasts some sweet pixel art, then Atomicrops is well worth a play. So next up we have Raji, an ancient epic. It's an action-adventure game set in ancient India, and what makes Raji rather unique is that it incorporates the mythology and deities of Hinduism into its gameplay and narrative. The game's story centres around a young girl called Raji and a journey to rescue a younger brother Golu, who amidst a war between the gods and demons has gone and got himself kidnapped. Now the gameplay is similar to classic God of War titles, with the usual platforming and occasional puzzles to solve, and combat takes place within the confines of arena-like areas against an assortment of enemies. Throughout a journey, the gods bestow Raji with a selection of celestial weapons with which to fight back against the demons, including a sword, trident and bow, and while combat is a little more simple with this one, it's still pretty solid and requires a decent amount of strategy. Now Alex previously reviewed the Switch port of Raji on his other channel, SwitchCorner, and I'll link the review below. He had a lot of good things to say about the game's story and gameplay, however he did criticise the oversimplified control scheme, and the Switch version had some big issues when it came to frame rate, but I don't expect to encounter the same performance issues on the Xbox. So the third game on today's list is a brand new release which comes to us from developers Variable State, creators of the critically acclaimed Virginia, and the game's publisher, Annapurna Interactive, have been responsible for publishing some of the most notable titles of the past 5 years. Last Stop is a single-player third-person adventure game set in present-day London, and its cinematic story-driven narrative features an interconnected trio of tales which follow the stories of 3 very different individuals. Donna is a high school student, John a middle-aged single father, and Mina a ruthlessly ambitious professional, and while the game's description hints at each of them having their own problems in their home lives, it seems like things are about to get a whole lot worse for them, as the worlds are about to be brought together when the supernatural encroaches on the normal everyday lives. Now throughout the fully voice acted storyline, you're able to make decisions which shape the conversations of each of the characters, and while it has been stated that this will not lead to different outcomes, there has been some indication that there are some variations to the game's endings. I for one am pretty excited about this one though, and I'll definitely be giving it a play the first chance that I get. Now our next game, entitled Blinx the Time Sweeper, has been plucked from the OG Xbox back catalogue, and I have to confess, it's not one that I've played or have ever even heard of. Released in 2002, Blinx focuses on an anthropomorphic cat called Blinx, who is on a mission to both prevent the end of the world and also rescue a princess from a porcine group of time bandits known as the Tom Tom Gang. Now from what I can gather, Blinx is what's known as a time sweeper, a kind of guardian who protects the integrity of time, and armed with his trusty TS1000 vacuum cleaner, Blinx is able to manipulate time in different ways, such as slowing it down, speeding it up, reversing it, and even stopping it entirely. These abilities are used to solve puzzles and fight back against the time monsters he encounters as he travels across an assortment of locations, and gameplay seems to focus around collecting time crystals and defeating monsters and bosses in an attempt to ultimately avert the end of the world. Now, while Blinx seemed to have suffered the fate of many video game mascots and unfortunately faded into obscurity, the game does look to have some interesting mechanics, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of people out there who will remember the game fondly and be happy to see it return. Our penultimate game this week is another Xbox original, and it was developed by FASA or FASA Studios, a branch of Microsoft Game Studios, way back in October of 2003. Crimson Skies High Road to Revenge is an arcade flying game featuring action-packed dogfights in an assortment of futuristic-looking fighter planes. The game's single-player campaign follows the adventures of Nathan Zachary, a guy out to avenge the death of one of his old pals, and while the gameplay in this one seems dated, especially when compared to modern titles such as Ace Combat or War Thunder, Crimson Skies is considered to be somewhat of a cult classic, and the controls in this game are a lot more straightforward, making it more accessible to younger audiences. Now, unfortunately, it seems like the online multiplayer features of the game are no longer supported, but if you're up for a bit of classic dogfighting action, it might be still something worth checking out. So our final game in this roundup is of course Microsoft Flight Simulator, which will be hitting Game Pass on the 27th of July. Originally tipped to release on last gen consoles, the plans for an Xbox One port of the game were scrapped in favour of continual development of the game alongside its PC counterpart, and so Microsoft Flight Simulator is said to be the very first Game Pass title only available on next gen hardware. Now, Microsoft Flight Simulator is of course a flight simulation game where you get to take to the skies in a wide variety of aircraft, which you then get to fly anywhere around the world. With over 37,000 airports, 2 million cities, and countless amounts of buildings, roads, trees, rivers and animals, the sheer scale of the game is enough to impress, but the breathtakingly beautiful aerial screenshots are what really got me excited, and like many, I'm really looking forward to seeing how far the game can push the capabilities of this next gen hardware. Now, I'll be honest, it's not one that I'd usually go for, especially considering the game's reputation as being one of the more hardcore flight sims, but I've already dedicated about 100 gigs of my hard drive to the game, and if nothing else, it's going to be interesting seeing how well the complex PC controls have been mapped across to the Xbox controller. And so that's about it for this week's roundup of Xbox Game Pass releases. Like I said before, you can expect one of these every week, as well as regular deals videos and reviews, so if that sounds like your kind of content, then consider hitting that subscribe button, and we'll see you all in the next video. Thanks everyone, take care.